Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. I'm here this week with my November flip through in my Hobonichi Cousin, which if you're new here, I use kind of as part planner, part like memory keeping book, and part commonplace book. It's a little bit of everything in here. This is going to be an interesting flip through because November was what I would kindly call an interesting month. I would unkindly call it some words that I can't use on YouTube. But yeah, it was a strange time, to say the least. And that is kind of reflected in here with the kind of spreads I did and didn't do. Yeah, I'm not going to go into everything that made it strange because, you know, privacy and all that. But probably the big thing that I have mentioned is I did go through a change of role at work, which is a good thing. Like, I'm really enjoying the new role. It's super exciting. It's totally different from anything I've ever done. Like, I'm learning things, it's great, but I just really don't like change. As I said in the last video, it's very difficult. I think most people struggle with change, to be fair, but when you're autistic, it just takes it to another level, to be honest. It's, yeah, had a bit of a freak out for quite some time back there, but I'm through the other end now, feeling much better. December, touch wood, is going to be a better month. Not least because Christmas is coming up. But yeah, anyway, I will take you through these November pages and take you through the month in all of its weird and wonderful glory. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I talk about the monthly page, just want to say I am still using the cover, like the cat print cover. It's still wonderful, although my cat did in fact rip off one of the tassels. Knew that was going to happen at some point. Anyway, the reason it's not on here today is that for filming, it's not great because like the cover is just a bit too big for the shot, and that really annoys me for some reason. So I just thought, let's take the cover off to film. Solves the problem of it not being in frame. Anyway, yeah. Monthly page. Yeah, here's my November monthly spread. I continued to use this page as a kind of planner, as makes sense. It's a calendar. Good to use it as a calendar. Got all my appointments and meetings and kind of recurring tasks in here. I do like using this for that purpose because, like, I don't really have the most exciting, interesting life. Like, I don't do that much. So there's usually a fair bit of space left over around all of like the events to decorate. And this month I chose a mushroom theme. The mushrooms that were chosen for these stickers are just inherently very beautiful. I just love mushrooms, man. Like, I just love them so much. I used to eat a lot of mushrooms when I was a vegetarian because, I mean, what else can you eat, to be fair? So yeah, love them for culinary and aesthetic purposes. Also, speaking of aesthetics, right, this lettering I did here to say goodbye autumn, genuinely, that is the best calligraphy I've ever done in my life. Like, I'm still looking at that like, I can't believe I did that. Like, it's so good. And I have no idea how I did it. Like, I have no idea how I made it that neat. And I've not been able to repeat it since. This was just some kind of fluke. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do it again, but I'm glad I did it here. Otherwise, what else is there to talk about on this page? Did my usual monthly reflection on the left-hand sidebar and ended up kind of going down a bit. Yeah, basically just talking about how weird this month was for me and strange and anxiety-inducing at times and just, yeah, one to forget, I think. But as I put at the bottom here, like, I think when you go through those weird and stressful times, it obviously isn't nice at the time, but it does have some benefits. Like, for example, it made me so grateful for all of the people in my life who have been so supportive and caring and just wonderful. And it also made me grateful for myself and like my ability to get through tough times. So yeah, a silver lining, I suppose, in any tough time is that it does highlight some of the good in your life, kind of in contrast to the trickiness. So as I'm sure I'll get to in like the weekly and daily spreads, I did do some really nice things in November around all the weirdness. For example, went to Bamborough with one of my friends, which is a beautiful place with a beautiful castle. I saw some family, got my nails done a couple of times, got them done yesterday actually. How nice are these? Love them. They look black in this light, but they're actually a very deep purple. Because nothing says Christmas season like a purple so dark that it looks black. What can I say? I'm predictable. Love me some dark and moody stuff. All right, yeah, that's the monthly page really. Fairly simple, using it as I always have. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Let's move on to the weeklies and, oh dear, it makes me sad to look at the first one. You'll understand why in a second. So here is the first monthly of November. Didn't quite go to plan. have probably the most disruptive smudge in this book so far, and I don't even know how that happened. Like, I left the book open on the table and came back a few hours later, and lo and behold, some kind of weird watermark, I think. I suspect what happened is that as I was like putting a glass of water on my desk, maybe a bit dripped onto the book. So this is very much a reminder not to leave your notebooks open on the desk if you plan to have beverages in there, because this happens, you know? You'd think I would have learned after the whole destruction of my first Hobonichi Cousin with a cup of tea incident, but apparently not. And this was so annoying because this was one of my favourite spreads ever, mostly because of this just like absolutely outstanding washi tape from the Coffee Monsters Co. I have a real soft spot for Vincent van Gogh or Van Gogh. I never know what the correct pronunciation is. Apparently in Dutch, it's neither of those, so I need to learn this. Anyway, love him so much, love his art, and Starry Night is probably my favourite piece of art ever. Like, just, it's great. So when Helen announced she was releasing this washi tape themed on Starry Night, I was like, oh, gotta get me some of that. And I did. As you'll see, I actually did later in November do another spread with the same tape to kind of like make up for it. But yeah, sometimes mistakes happen. What are you gonna do? Not a lot. Nothing's ever perfect in life. But yeah, this was first week in November. It was quite a nice week, actually. I think it was a busy one at work because I was in the stages of like preparing for the work change, and there was a lot to do with like the admin side of things. So I was a bit stressed, a bit busy, but there were some like nice moments too. We went to see my fiance's parents, I guess my future in-laws you'd call them, and it was lovely. We had a nice chat. Lots of nice food, and in the car on the way home I played Animal Crossing. I played the Halloween event because I was a bit late doing it. It was also bonfire night the day after, and I didn't go out to a display, mainly because, well, I don't really think a big firework display is the best place for me with my particular autistic traits. I think it would be a bit much. You know, it's very loud, lots of people. I don't think I'd like it very much. Luckily, I could see a local display from the window upstairs in my house, so I just did that. It was great. Saw some beautiful fireworks without having to interact with humans. What more could you want? So yeah, some nice things mixed in with the stress this week. I also started using some new stickers in these like daily columns. Until now I'd used Coffee Monsters Co. emojis only, but I got an order from Salam Creative, who I will link in the description, and started using some of her stickers too, which are very cute. I also bought a few of her washi tapes at the same time, which you will see at least one of them later. I think maybe two actually. Yeah, anyway, they're really nice. So that was a very good purchase. Very, very happy with that. But yeah, that's this week with the unfortunate smudge. Let's move on to the next week, which, yes, this is one of the washi tapes from Salam Creative that I was talking about. I love it so much. It's like planner themed with some coffee in there too. Some pens. Is that a cake? Oh, beautiful. What more could you want in life? Anyway, yeah, love how this looked. Love myself a beige neutral. And this spread obviously turned out a bit better than the last one. No smudges this time. And you can tell by the amount of text that it was another busy week. I think this was like the week before the work change was going to become official. So again, very, very busy trying to prepare for all of that, while also doing my new role at the same time at that point. So I was kind of doing two jobs. It was a lot. But some good things happened. I played some Animal Crossing there and then didn't pick it up for the rest of November, which, oh, yeah, you could tell I was so stressed. Like, I get so stressed and antsy if I don't play Animal Crossing for a while, I guess, because it's a special interest and it's so soothing. But yeah, played some then, at least, if not for the rest of the month. And yeah, what else? What else did I do this week? I got my hair cut, got my fringe back. I just feel like a different person when my fringe has grown out, and not in a good way. Like, I don't feel like me until I've got my lovely, like, blunt, full fringe in my life. But unfortunately, they grow out just so quickly that it looks good for like 2 weeks, and then it's just an ordeal trying to get it to look good for the other weeks until my next haircut. Like, the fringe life is a difficult life, and don't let anyone ever try and tell you otherwise. It is an adventure trying to get it to look good, let me tell you, but totally worth it in my case. I love it so much. I think I suit it. And yeah, in this week, I'd kind of been experimenting with doing a little summary of the day every single day. I can't remember if I did it the week before as well. I did, yeah. Yeah, I'd just been experimenting with that. I didn't end up keeping up with it because I, as you'll see later on, felt I'd much rather have a bigger space to list my tasks than to have like a daily reflection bit here, because I'd kind of write in my other journal every day anyway. I don't need this daily reflection. But here, you know, it looked nice. Oh my god, wait, there's a smudge there. I lied. I said this was a smudge-free page. It's not. Oh, honestly, what am I like? Yeah. Where was I? Wow, that distracted me. Yeah, daily reflection. Did that for a while. I do like how it looks. Like, I like the completion of the bar that it gives, but I just didn't really need it in the end, so I stopped doing it. And oh, this makes me laugh in retrospect because my last entry in this page had said, I'm glad this week is over now. Not the best one I've had. Here's to next week being a bit better. And I'm just going to turn over the page to let you know how that went. Not very well. It was not, in fact, a better week. In fact, it was worse. So much worse, because this was the week when I changed roles at work. I ended up working 10 hours more than I usually do, which, good for the bank balance, bad for literally everything else. I was just like a bit of an emotional mess because, you know, leaving a job you've been in for like 3 years, it is emotional. Like, it felt like the end of an era, you know? And as I say, like, the new era is great and I'm enjoying it, but it's still the end of an era. It was just a lot. And I had to say goodbye to my team who I love. And I was just, yeah, not having a good time, to the extent that I didn't even fill in these days. And that's when you know it's bad, when I neglect my weekly spreads, because I love the vertical weeklies in this book. As I've said so many times, they're one of my favourite things about the cousin. And for me to have not filled them in is a sign of how bad things got. I was just a bit of a shell of a human for those days, I guess. But it did get a bit better. Well, I say that. I think it got a bit up and down, as the, like, brain stickers from Salam Creative show. Like, here I'm just like, oh God, too much going on, too much chaos. Then I had therapy, which did help. Therapy is wonderful for that. And that did make me feel better, but then at the weekend, I felt worse again. It was just a roller coaster of a week. But I will say a couple of things. One is that I love how this looks. Again, I went with mushrooms. November and mushrooms go hand in hand. And you might remember I'd used this washi tape in a previous weekly spread, and then I'd picked like a weird pink colour as the accent, and I didn't like how it looked. So this time I rectified that and I picked like a red that matches the mushrooms, and I think it looks so much better. Love it so much. Also put in this beautiful mushroom illustration from Stick With Kate. I love her work so much. Or their work, I should say, because her sister's recently joined the business. Anyway, yeah, that's exciting. As for how the week went as a whole, as discussed, wasn't great for a lot of it, but this was the weekend where I went to Bamborough with my friend Ruby, and her partner Luke very graciously drove us there, and it was just a brilliant time, which I'll go into later because I did like a whole daily spread all about it. And then the day after was like very much a rest day after all of that, but we did watch Blade Runner 2049, which was alright. It was okay. Like, there was some stuff that stretched believability a bit, and there was not enough Harrison Ford in it, gotta say, but it was an alright watch, you know? And it always just makes me think of that hilarious interview that Alison Hammond did with Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford about that movie. YouTube it if you haven't seen it. It's pure chaos. Like, I love that woman so much. She's incredible. But yeah, that was nice, because to be honest, I don't really watch movies that often or at all. I don't know why, like, I think it's an attention span thing. Like, I just don't really want to sit for 2 hours watching the same thing, you know? So it was nice to do something a bit unusual and watch a film. I will be watching a film on the 13th of December, though, when the Eras Tour movie comes to home rental. I know I saw it at the cinema, but this one has like 3 extra songs, or is it 4? So gotta watch it again. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move on to a better week. This was when I reused that washi tape by the Coffee Monsters Co., and I did not massively smudge it this time. I really loved how this turned out. I loved using the yellow as an accent to like bring out the stars and the moon. Kind of popped in this Stick With Kate moon sticker to fill the space here because it matched the colour palette a bit, and I think it looked really nice. As you can see, this wasn't the most productive week. I didn't really do anything on my to-do list at all, except film that video, the Q&A that I posted. But, you know, there was a good reason for that, and that was that I actually went away. Yeah, that kind of limited my time for doing stuff because I had to kind of fit all of my work into 4 days instead of 5, and yeah, it was just very busy. But it was a nice week. I officially started the new role fully, like without my old role, and as I say, enjoying it, enjoying learning new skills. So yeah, that was cool. And oh yeah, this was the week where I just randomly was really inspired to work out. I did a workout for 2 days in a row. And bear in mind, I don't think I'd done a workout before this for at least 6 months. Other than that, what else did I do? I recorded and posted my video earlier in the week than usual because of my trip. I then had an absolute nightmare of a train journey. They'd completely overbooked the train, and I had to move seats 4 times because I kept sitting in seats that said they were unreserved, and then somebody would turn up and be like, no, actually it is reserved and it's mine. So I ended up stood by the toilet at one point. When I did eventually get a seat, I'd planned to like catch up on some TV or like YouTube videos on the train, and then the Wi-Fi wasn't working, so I couldn't. So I was just sat there like, great, literally nothing went to plan here. But I got there eventually. And then luckily the train home was much better, actually got a seat for the whole journey, which in the British train system is not a given, so. Anyway, let's move on to the last weekly of November, which is this week. It's currently Sunday, which is why there is a gap here. I typically fill like these boxes in at the end of every day. It's like one of the last things I do as like a nice reflection on the day. So yeah, haven't done it yet because it's not the end of Sunday yet. This washi tape is another one from Salam Creative. It's beautiful. It's got like these really nice bookish vibes and lots of nice little sparkly bits here and there. It's also like a slightly different colour to most of my other washi tapes. Like I've noticed the ones I had before I bought these were a lot of like dark blues or light blues or just blues, really light blue apparently. So it was nice to get some other colours. This feels like almost like a greeny grey, which is why I picked like a light green as the accent colour, but I love how it turned out. It's looking nice. As for this week, honestly, I've just been so tired. I think the trip really exhausted me. Like I really needed a lot of sleep and I got it. Luckily, I overslept on Tuesday and Wednesday, which, yeah, not great, but also great. Like, not great in the sense of I had stuff to do and I overslept, so I had less time to do it in, but I needed the rest. So I'd say it's a positive overall. I'm feeling much less exhausted now and just much more like a human being. So we also had the first snow of the year this week. It started on Thursday with just like a little sprinkling, and then yesterday and Friday as well, there was actually quite a bit. It's very much a winter wonderland out there right now, which is nice when you're inside and looking at it, but when you're outside, not so fun. The estate where we live doesn't really get like gritted or anything, so all of the roads are so icy, it's not fun to drive on. We had a bit of a skid yesterday, which was not fun. Anyway, yeah, this week I did something new that I actually quite like. In the tasks section, I've got like these little repeating tasks now for my different journal things that I want to do. So one for gratitude, one for my health tracker, and one for my daily journal, which is like the private one that I don't show. And it's just basically a reminder to actually do those things because I was forgetting, especially because the gratitude and health tracker I don't do in this book anymore for various reasons. For the health tracker, it was because I was using the yearly pages for that and just like marking with an X the symptoms I was having, but that wasn't really working because I found I was wanting to write context on the symptoms as well. I didn't want to just mark that I'd had a migraine. I wanted to write why I thought I'd had a migraine, like what triggered it. So I moved the health tracker into this nice little field notes book with the beautiful national park cover. I think it's so pretty. I'm not going to show the inside because, you know, health data, private and all that. But basically now I have like a little table to track the symptoms, and then afterwards I can write what on each day I think caused the symptom. So working a bit better for me. And gratitude, I've also moved out of this book. I was doing it on the daily pages, but I've decided I just want to use those for commonplacing. Like I just need that space. I need all of that room for commonplacing. So I've also got a little field notes book for that. This beautiful stag. I love the pinky purple tones. It's so nice. But yeah, because I've moved those into separate books, I wasn't always remembering to actually fill them out anymore because I'm very much an out of sight, out of mind person. And I keep these like tucked in the back of my cover and I just kept forgetting they exist. So I've written down these little reminders here to actually do them. And I think next week I'm going to add commonplacing into that because I haven't been making as much time for it recently. And you can tell because, yeah, I get very anxious when I don't commonplace because commonplacing for me is usually like reading about my special interests and then writing about them. So if I'm not doing that, that means I'm not engaging in my special interests and I'm not going to feel good. So, all right, time to move on to the daily pages. This time I did my November cover on the cover page, unlike in October when I did it on October 1st. And again, the mushroom theme. Don't need to say any more than that. We've covered that previously. As for the first, I did a gratitude log. This was before I'd bought the field notes book to use as a gratitude log. And this was the last time I actually did one in these pages. Was very grateful for many things in this week. It's basically a week's worth of it. I'd been grateful for food a lot of the time. I'm a very big foodie, so I often get a lot of joy from the food I'm eating. And yeah, also trying to be grateful for myself and to see myself in a positive light. Not always the best at that. And another big thing I was grateful for actually is I got some amazing mail from my friends Alexander and Autumn, who visited Edinburgh, and they went into a shop and saw some washi tape and a sticker that they thought I would like, and they sent it to me, and it was like the nicest thing. And Alexander also sent me a beautiful card with some really touching words in it, which I've actually stuck on the last page here. It's the mushrooms. Here they are again, mushrooms. See? Love them. But yeah, that really was so nice, because that was kind of like the start of when the month started to get really stressful, and then that mail came and it just made everything feel so much better. So yeah, thank you, Alexander and Autumn, if you're watching. You'll see the washi tape and the sticker actually later in the daily pages. I have put both of them in here, so yeah. On this page, this is the sticker I was talking about that Alexander and Autumn got me. It's very, very pretty, and love the message of it as well. I put it here because I thought it actually went very well with my picture of the fireworks near my house, which were very, very pretty. For the rest of the page, I just wrote down some quotes and posts from Tumblr recently. I've still got such a backlog of posts to write in here, even though I did a couple more pages of just quotes, like as you can see here, and here actually as well. I just keep saving things and then not actually writing them out because I write about other things. I did like how this spread ended up looking, like the colours, this lovely moon sticker from Stick With Kate, and then this lovely books and plants sticker from Stick With Kate, and this one. I love just like the kind of orangey brown tones. And this is the washi tape that Alexander and Autumn got me, which definitely is my vibe. Like, they know me well, you know? Books and potions, what more could you want? Anyway, let's move on to the next pages. Aha, yeah, this was just like a sum up of my week, that week, obviously, because I hadn't been having a good time. And I kind of deliberately wrote out the things that had been bothering me, and then deliberately wrote out all the good things that had been happening. Because when I get in like a bad mental state, I tend to just think that everything is terrible and like nothing will ever go right for me again. And everything I do is rubbish. So it's nice to intentionally be like, no, here are the good things that happened, even in this difficult week, and add a bit of balance back in there. So yeah, used a lot of Petite Gloom or Megan Rhiannon's stickers in here, the gloomies, and just the word moody, because yeah, that was me this week. And also used these little mini round watercolour stickers from Stick With Kate. And I think it looked nice. Yeah, let's move on. Aha, okay. Here is where I started doing some lists in here. The purpose of this was twofold. One is I got a bit behind and I was like, what can I fill this with? A list. It's a pretty easy way to fill the space. But also, in my 2024 cousin, I do want to have like a static list of the books I want to read and the games I want to play. And I wanted to test out how many pages I needed to write out like all the books and games that I want to play. Turns out quite a few, because I have a ridiculously long TBR list. I currently have 45 unread books, actually no, 47 unread books on my shelf because I bought 2 more after doing this list. One of my goals for 2024 is to not buy any new books until I've finished all the ones I own. So yeah, here's the list of books that I own, and these are the books that I'm going to allow myself to buy either before 2024 or in 2024. Like, these are the exceptions to the no buy rule because I've wanted them all for ages, and yeah, I just want to get them, basically. These are ones I definitely know that I will love. I actually, as I say, did buy 2 of these already. I bought I, Julian by Claire Gilbert about Julian of Norwich, and I bought Queens of the Age of Chivalry by Alison Weir because I love me some medieval queens. But the others I might get for Christmas, or I might just buy myself at some point. After I've got these 6 books, that is it until I've read most of the ones that I own, if not all. Please hold me to this in the comments as the year goes on. Keep asking me, like, Ellie, have you bought any more books? And if you have, why did you do that? Because, yeah, I really want to get through these. And I really want to just stop buying things as like a dopamine hit and then not actually doing anything with them, you know what I mean? Also, want to shout out these cats with books stickers from Bartista Shop. I mean, 2 of my favourite things in life right there. And then the second list I have on the next page is the games. The games I want to play. And this one, you see, the embarrassment on this page is how many I actually have in progress. I have 9. And my toxic trait with games is I start them and then I realise that I really like them, so I do nothing but play them for a few weeks but don't actually make any progress. Like in Tears of the Kingdom, I spent 70 hours just running around collecting the little glimmer things in the underground area or building random crap out of pieces of wood. I did not do the story, and then I played it so much that I got burned out on it without having played the story. So now it's still there. It's still on my list, and I do this a lot. Like, I did it with Xenoblade Chronicles, which I've got maybe like 75% of the way through, and I loved it, and I was like 100%ing it. Like, there's a lot of side quests, and I spent so many hours on it, but I burned myself out before I actually finished it, and just couldn't play it anymore. Did the same with Skyward Sword, which came out, I want to say like 2 years ago now. Like the remastered version, or even 3, I don't even know. It's been too long. And yeah, it means I have this like long list of things in progress that I didn't actually ever finish. I want to finish at least some of them this year, because as you can see, I also have a long list of new games that I either already own and want to play, or don't own yet but want to play. So yeah, it's kind of the same as with the books. I really want to make a dent in this list, finish at least some of the in-progress stuff, and admittedly, like, some of this isn't stuff that you ever finish. Like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley, you could technically just play endlessly forever, but there are some that actually have an end point, and I want to get to the end point before I start any new like story-based games, basically. Moving on though, this is a little entry about Labyrinth by Taylor Swift, which in one of my previous videos, I talked about how it was my least favourite song off Midnight's. I'd never really like got it, and the intro was really weird to me, and I just didn't really like it. But then she performed it as a surprise song on the Eras tour, and I just saw it in a whole new light. It somehow just clicked for me then how beautiful the song is. And yeah, I wanted to make a little entry about that, because let's celebrate our musical growth of realising that songs are actually good. So yeah, that's that. Let's see what's here. Oh yeah, this was, I'm pretty sure this was the page that I was writing in my Q&A video, but this was a note that Ezra sent me when I won a giveaway on Discord, and got a beautiful postcard and some teas, which I still need to drink, actually. They're in my cupboard. I see them every day, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to stick the note that Ezra left me in here as a nice memento of winning that giveaway. Thank you again, Ezra. Really loved everything you sent. The next couple of pages, I didn't really know what to write, and I really wanted to cheer myself up somehow. So what I did was I printed out a lot of memes, basically, and just like papered the pages with memes. This is my favourite meme of all time, of this little hamster persisting in the face of the horrors. And these are memes from one of my favourite meme pages on Instagram about raccoons. There's no way to explain this that doesn't make me sound unhinged, but I just really love these freaking raccoons, alright? Like, they're hilarious. Look at this little dude. I relate to this one so much. But yeah, I love all of these raccoons, basically. And they really summed up my mental state at this point in the month. I really needed that crumb of serotonin. I was in fact physically pained and mentally drained, and I was very tired. So yeah, pro tip, if your mental health is suffering, just print out an absolute ton of raccoon memes and stick them in your planner, and you'll probably feel a bit better. I don't know if that's good mental health advice, but it's what I did. So anyway, let's move on. Oh yay, Bamborough. This is my page, well, set of pages on my Bamborough trip with Ruby, which was so nice. I mean, look at that castle. Isn't that just a beautiful castle? It's on a cliff by the sea, beautiful views. You can see Holy Island from it. On top of that, because of when we went, they'd already set up for Christmas, and they had the most beautiful Christmas trees there. It was a great day. Thank you, Ruby, for suggesting it. And I need to go back. Well, we need to go back, me and Ruby together, because we didn't even get to see everything in the castle, because it closes quite early for a castle. So we didn't actually get to see everything. We saw like all the main stuff, but gotta go back to see the little museum-y bit that we didn't get to see. So yeah, that's Bamborough. Had a great time. Moving on though. Oh god, the bloody narwhal. I like to buy like a new Christmas decoration for the tree every year. It's just a little tradition I have. And I saw this narwhal, right? And I have no idea what narwhals have to do with Christmas. I've since been told that apparently there's a narwhal in like Elf or something. I don't know. But to me at the time, it was just the most absurd thing that I'd ever seen. I was like, why is there a Christmas narwhal? This makes no sense. So of course I had to buy it because I love the absurd. So I did, bought the Christmas narwhal, brought it home. And unfortunately, it seems that my cat has a real hatred of either Christmas or narwhals or possibly both. Because the minute I brought that thing home and got it out of the bag, she went into murder mode. Like, she wanted to destroy it. So I hid it from her. I put it on a high shelf. And then in the week, I walked into my office and she was scaling the shelves to access the Christmas narwhal so that she could continue to murder it. I was like, what is this? I've never seen my cat show that much enthusiasm for anything. And she was really enthusiastic about this violence. So yeah, I don't know how long the Christmas narwhal is going to last. Anyway, moving on from the narwhal, I decided in these pages to kind of stick in the albums I've been listening to the most over the past month. I really got into The Record by Boy Genius, which I did like before, but this month, something about it just really clicked with me. And my favourites in recent weeks have been Letter to an Old Poet, because like the callback to Me and My Dog from their first EP is just chef's kiss. Love it. And also enjoying Not Strong Enough, not least because of the extremely relatable lyric about spinning out about things that haven't happened, because that is my anxiety in a nutshell. Then Midnight's forever a favourite album for me. I really got into You're On Your Own, Kid this month. The bridge is just incredible, as are most Taylor Swift bridges, to be fair. She's great at bridges. So yeah, wrote that one out. What else have we got? Reputation. Call It What You Want actually directly mentions late November. So like in late November, I always listen to it a lot. And New Year's Day is just beautiful. Got a lot of Evermore this month as well. I always associate Evermore with the winter. It did come out in December, so that kind of makes sense. And it does have a song called 'Tis the Damn Season, so like, yeah. Oh, and also Evermore, the song references November again, so seems like an appropriate album to listen to at this time of year. Evermore, the song, is also like probably my favourite song of all time, so listen to it a lot all year round. Also really vibed with It's Time to Go, because again, Taylor performed it as a surprise song on the Eras tour, and it had been a bit of a meh song until then for me, but when I heard it acoustic, I was like, hang on, this is pretty good actually. So I've been listening to that one a lot. And the final big album of November for me was Dance Fever by Florence and the Machine. Wonderful album. Has my favourite lyric, which is just a deep sigh. I really enjoyed like creating a little November mixtape actually. I think I might do this every month, because music is a huge part of my life, and it's nice to kind of see what I was listening to when. The annoying thing was though that like there was quite a random bit of space left on this page after I'd finished that, so I just kind of put this divider of celestial pictures and wrote a couple more quotes. So yeah, that's that spread. And then this is one of the spreads about my trip to see my mum and my gran. I decided to basically just like print out a lot of my favourite pictures from the stay, including this picture of me feeling very like Folklore and Evermore in my brown check dress and then like grey check coat. Definitely feeling those vibes. But yeah, we had a nice time, mostly because we just did a tour of like all of my favourite food places in that city. Here's the food page. Had a great salad, a great like brunch brioche bun thing at this really nice brunch spot in town. And this pie, oh man, that pie was so good. Like, I ordered the pie on the menu and I thought it would just be like a slice, right? As it normally is in a pub. But no, it was a full-ass pie. It was really good though. It was chicken and pancetta. Anyway, I'm going to get hungry if I carry on, so I'm going to turn over. And yeah, this is just a couple of pictures I took in Wolverhampton itself of the big church in the middle of town, which I think is really pretty. And it has a really nice garden. And I just kind of did a brief summary of everything we did on the trip. Moving on to the next page, another quotes page. Used the same washi tape that Alexander and Autumn bought me, and I kind of like cut it to fit around the stickers, and I thought that looked really cool actually. I've never done that before, but it looks pretty cool. Reading these quotes back, they're just on a lot of different topics, mostly appreciating life and staying positive and trying not to get stuck on things, which all good things to do, you know. Looking forward though, oh god, more quotes. So many more quotes. And the beautiful Monet washi tape from the Coffee Monsters Co. here, and there is a cat hair stuck underneath it. Oh no. Oh dear. Occupational hazard of being a cat owner there. Oh, I'll get that out later. I'll get my tweezers or something. Anyway, love this washi tape. Love these little watercolour circles from Stick with Kate. Decided to use them basically as like bullet points for the different quotes. Often the quotes are things that I kind of need to hear, or like that I feel will help my mental health to like remember. So a lot of those here about, you know, reframing things to prioritise rest, or, you know, the benefit of solitude and contemplation time, which as an introvert and an autistic person is very important to me. Then we have Spotify Wrapped, which is one of my favourite days of the year. I love learning just how much of a obsessed Taylor Swift fan I've been that year. This year I was in the top 0.5%, which for me is actually not that good. Like, I've been in the top 0.01 before. This is a downgrade, so next year I need to do better. Although in my defence, I did get a new Spotify account in May, and it was like right end of May, which means that like there were only really 5 months of tracking in my Spotify Wrapped because it stops on October 31st. But yeah, none of my Wrapped was particularly surprising. Like my top artists, Taylor Swift, Florence and the Machine, Gracie Abrams, The National, and Lorde, all artists that I love. One thing that did surprise me is my number 3 song of the year was Is It Over Now from 1989 Taylor's version. And it had only been out for 4 days before the tracking period ended. So in 4 days, I somehow listened to that song enough to get it to number 3 in my yearly ranking, which is bizarre to think about. I knew I was playing it on repeat, but I don't think I realised quite how much I was playing it on repeat. But no regrets, it's a great song. I also got one of those like little achievement things where it was like, you're a vampire. Musically, you listen to a lot of emotional music. And I was like, no need to call me out like that, Spotify. Like, yes, I do listen to a lot of sad songs, but there's no need to point that out quite so strikingly. But, you know, it is what it is. I do like sad songs. And then let's see what's on the last page. Oh, another music thing. You're Losing Me came out. This was a Taylor Swift song that had initially only been on a CD that you had to physically buy at some of her American concerts. It was really weird, but she put it on streaming, and that in itself was exciting. But then, all hell broke loose this week, I swear to God. Like, Jack Antonoff revealed that it was written like a year and a bit before we all thought it was, which means that she'd been struggling in her relationship for like a whole year and a bit, more than we thought she had. And it was a very wild time to be a Swiftie. Lots of speculation, lots of theories. I kind of broke my Reddit fast to read the theories about it, which I regret, because Reddit makes me very anxious, and I have reblocked it on all my devices after that, because it wasn't good. And then I just did a little closing piece here about how I was extremely glad that November was finally ending, because I was, in fact, extremely glad. But as I've written, again, it did have some positives. It showed me how strong I am to get through all of that, and it made me very grateful for the good things in my life. That is a very nice way to end this video, isn't it? On a positive. Thank you for watching this. I'll be posting another video on Sunday. I don't yet know what it'll be because I put it to a poll. By the time you watch this, I'll probably have ended the poll and decided on which video I'm gonna make. But right now I haven't, so we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. Hope you all have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you in the next one.